The Brian Mudd Show is on News Radio 610 WIOD.
It's very close. It's really just the last dotting of I's and crossing of T's.
It can't come too soon.
We are in the time frame now that probably for the next 60 to 90 days, we're going to have more deaths per day than we had in 9/11 or we had at Pearl Harbor.
Okay, so, obviously the heat is on for the vaccine. And the rollout in England first put that much more, I think, emphasis on every single day during the course of this process, because as soon as you see it being rolled out somewhere, you have a lot of Americans going, well, why not us? And you had the FDA. They ended up going through their process yesterday, and you had the panel review. Now, of note, you had 17 yeses, but you did have 4 dissenters. And it's always interesting to me that you had 4 people, and think, these are going to be top scientists, else they're not sitting on an FDA panel. And you have 4 of them that go, yeah, we've seen enough here that we're not comfortable doing this. No. And this is on back of some of what we learned. So we learned on day 1 coming out of England, well, actually, people with food allergies might not be a good idea for this thing. There's even some debate about those who have asthma at this point. So here to talk about, the dynamics involved, Dr. Al Johnson. He's a doctor of internal medicine. And Dr. Johnson, it is great to have you. Thank you for taking the time with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
So let's talk about some of what we have learned and what much more of what we probably won't until we end up getting there. Your thoughts first about those with food allergies that might be having adverse reactions to this Pfizer COVID vaccine.
Well, that is possible. They've taken the egg out, which is one of the big food allergens that people had trouble with in the past with regular vaccines. However, they have lipids in there that coat the virus to help it get inside the cell. And I'm not sure where those lipids come from, what food source. So potentially that could be a problem. A lot of lipids come from soy sometimes. So I don't know exactly. And I'm trying to find out, but I haven't been able to find out the source. So what we see is in England, 4 people evidently had Bell's palsy type symptoms. We know the virus stimulates the immune system, so it fights against the virus, but there's a general stimulation too. We know that people that had Bell's palsy in the past can have recurrence with it. It can reactivate that virus with any type of immune stimulation. So we don't know exactly, but this is what could have happened with the Bell's palsy type patients.
When you take a look at the decision by health authorities in England to roll this out before the FDA in the States, what do you make of that? And, how much weight do you put in the English authorities relative to our own?
Well, I think everybody's trying their best. We have it's a pandemic. It's a crisis. Everybody's trying their best to be as safe as possible, to be hopefully as transparent as possible. And just every day we have new facts that we can base our thought process on. They've tested, thousands of people. They've listed the kind of the side effects, the biggest one being fatigue, that can occur with it, which is typical with any vaccine because of the immune system activation.
So based upon where we are in this process and, the 4 FDA members who voted no on it, is that enough of a reason that people should be skeptical as it's rolled out?
Well, I think that those people who have allergy and adverse reactions to different items, say food, that type of thing that you were mentioning, they may want to wait just a little bit to see what new information is coming out as it's actually being used in actual treatment. There's just a small part of the population that have those adverse reactions, but they do exist. And so there's nothing that's going to be 100% actually safe. But everyone has to weigh the risk versus benefit of whatever they do in life, whether it's getting in your car and driving or whether it's taking the vaccine.
Speaking to Dr. Al Johnson, how long do you think we need before we understand the efficacy, not in a tested lab environment, but just out there in the masses? How long do we need here?
Well, I think every day we learn more. So over the next couple weeks, we should learn a lot more as they roll this out, and they're using it in specific population groups. They're collecting information, so we should know that. The one thing that makes sense, there's been new testimony before Ron Johnson's Senate committee about early treatment of COVID to get those people treated with early symptoms so they don't end up in the hospital. And you can find out more of that by going to aapsonline.org.
aapsonline.org?
Yes. Yes.
All right, very good. Dr. Al Johnson, thank you very much for the time and the information. It's appreciated.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Have a healthy day.
You as well.